Hi, this is Mike from Black Swamp Leather Company. Today I wanted to show you how I make a pattern for a leather holster. This one is for a customer, and it's going to be a cross-draw holster, so it's going to have a really extreme angle like this pattern here that I made for a revolver a couple weeks back. So with a cross-draw holster, since the angle on the belt really matters, I usually start by drawing the outline for the belt first, and I usually make all my holsters to fit a 2-inch belt unless a customer requests something different. So what I'm going to do is draw a 2-inch outline for a belt. And this is it's going to be a Kimber Ultra Carry, the Kimber Micro 9 that I'm going to be making a holster for. So on either side of the belt, I give a 1/2 inch space so the leather isn't very thin around the belt. And it's very important for strength and durability that it be a 1/2 inch or more. I usually go with a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to measure a 1/2 inch off the belt on each side and draw a line for that. That's going to be the outline of the actual holster itself. That way I can place my gun mold on the drawing where I want it, how I want it to fit on the belt. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to outline the mold onto the paper. Okay. Now if you can see here, this mold has already got the sight channel right on it, so I don't have to worry about measuring for that. So how I figure where to make my stitch lines, you take the leather and measure it, and we got an 1/8 of an inch. It's about an 1/8 of an inch thick. So about an 1/8 of an inch off my gun mold is where I'm going to make my stitch line. That way it's a nice tight fit. I'm making a line an 1/8 of an inch off. And then over here on this side, an 1/8 of an inch. Then I block in the bottom of the holster. I don't like the end of the gun sticking out, So I go as close as I can to the very bottom of it and draw my outline there. Now you want to leave enough room around the grip for your fingers, so I usually go about 3/4 of an inch off the handle, and I draw a little guideline there, so there's plenty of room in there for your fingers. And the mag release is right at the base of the trigger guard, so right about here I make a little guideline so that I can make sure I don't cover that up with leather. So I want to come as close as I can to that mag release without covering it, and draw an outline up to the base of the gun. So right here you've got space for your fingers, and I round that off real nice so it's a nice comfortable feel. You don't have any sharp edges when you reach and grab your gun. Next thing I do is on a cross straw holster, you want as much, especially with a small gun, you want as much leather holding on to that gun as possible. So I go up pretty high on the gun with the leather. That's probably about high enough right there. So I cut that back. Cut that back that way. Now I'm going to make the belt loop hole on this side. I'm going to make the hole as close as possible to the gun. That way the holster itself is as small as I can make it. So off the bottom here I'm going to do maybe a 1/4 inch. And then the belt loop hole is a 1/2 inch wide, and then I got to go another 1/2 inch to the outside of the holster. So I'll measure that up here too. Let's have something on my ruler that's making marks on my paper. Okay, here's the belt loop hole. And I'll show you my belt loop die. This is what I use to make my belt loop holes. That should fit right on there nice. About a 1/2 inch by 2 inch. Alright, now the top of the outline here, I'm just going to curve it up. And since this line right here is my stitch line, I want to go about a 1/4 inch on the other side of that for my outline. And you'll see what that does. Alright, now for my my reinforcement that holds the pocket open. I usually like an inch, about an inch of reinforcement up there. So this will be the outside piece that holds the pocket open. Now This holster is going to be made with this marine emblem attached to that reinforcement, so it's going to sit just about right in there. So what I'm going to do is take that emblem and find what size it is, 1.25 inches. So it's about 1.25 inches circle. That way I know how big I need to make this thing. I'm going to mark the center of the hole so I know where to punch the hole for the screw post, so that I can attach that with the screw. I'm going to mark all 4 center lines and draw the center line on that. So right there is the very center where I need to punch my hole. Now I need to adjust my outline for the reinforcement so that it will, well, I need to go a little bit bigger than that so that I have room for my stitch line. So 1.25 inches, I'll go 1.5 inches. I'll do it 1.5 inches. Sorry about that. Find my center again. So this is my new center. Okay, I'll darken that outline up. And I don't want to take my reinforcement all the way to the edge. When I make my pattern for the top piece, it's going to elongate anyway, so that it's got enough room to stretch, wrap around the gun a little bit. So you need a gap so that you're not stitching over top of your reinforcement. You actually want the reinforcement on this side of the stitch line, and you'll see later how that works out. So we'll make our belt loop on this side of the holster. And what you have to remember is when you put this on your belt, this this side of the holster is going to be underneath the belt. So your belt's going to come over this and go down into here underneath the holster and out the other side. So it's going to bend this part of the holster out of the way for your grip on this side. But you do want to keep that hole as close as possible to the gun without being too close, so that it causes an issue when you want to get a full firing grip on it. So we're going to go about 1.5 inches out. Measure a 1/2 inch for the hole and a 1/2 inch for the holster. And then 1/2 inch for the gun. And then 1/2 inch for the gun. And then 1/2 inch for the holster. And then 1/2 inch for the holster. And then 1/2 inch for the gun. And then 1/2 inch for the holster. And then 1/2 inch for the holster. And then 1/2 inch for the holster. So I want to connect the area around the top of the belt loop hole with this top piece here. It might look kind of weird, but once the gun is in there and it's on the belt, this whole area is going to be bent back out of the way so you can grab it. So let's shape up the bottom. I'm going to come around this way. And what I like to do is round off my edges with about a 7/8 inch circle. I'm going to round off the outside edge of the belt loop area. Alright, now I don't like how thin this is here, so I'm going to thicken that out a little bit. I want a 1/2 inch all the way around. Okay, that'll work. Now we need a sweat guard on the back, and we want to cover up the dovetail on the back. That needs to be covered so it doesn't dig into your side. Sorry, I meant to bring that out to match up with the front of the holster. Okay. And the Marine emblem is going to sit right there. Should look really nice. I'm not positive I like this wavy design on the bottom. Typically I would just try to make the leather as small as possible so that the holster was small and as light as possible, but because I don't like the waviness, I might try to straighten that out a little bit. The gun's going to end here, but we still need holster, leather in here because of the back of the holster. Okay, that's what I decided to go with. Not so much of a severe wave at the bottom. But one other thing that I left out was I have to make a pocket right underneath the trigger guard for retention adjustment. So in there I put a rubber grommet and a screw with a screw post so that you can tighten it down and loosen it up depending on how much retention you want. So I use a block that I've shaped for the pocket that I tape it to the gun like that when I'm molding it. So I got to make sure I make my pattern so that it will fit that. So that's how that's going to sit on my pattern. So I got to make the stitch line go around that and back up to the bottom of the barrel of the gun. So now I have to mark my start and stop point of my stitch line with an X. That way when I make my pattern I can just make a little prick mark so that I know where to start and stop my stitch for the liner, because I'll stitch the liner on from here all the way around to here, and then on the bottom I'll stitch from here to there. So I marked that with an X there. Alright, now I got to get my light table out and switch things around so that I can draw the top part of the holster. I'll be right back. Okay, so what I did was I taped my top piece of paper on and I traced this part of the holster all the way up to the stitch line, because that's not going to move. When I go and I bend the paper and wrap it around the gun, I'll be able to trace the other side. But what I did was I traced it and I laid my ruler along that stitch line so that I could fold it, get a really nice crisp clean line. That way this part of the paper doesn't move around so much. Sorry, it's blurry. I'm not sure why it's blurry. Okay, that way this part of the paper doesn't move around so much and I can get that fold nice and close to the molding drone so that a really good fit. So I'm going to put the molding drone back where I traced it, in the original position, and then hold down on the paper right next to it. I'm getting blurry again. Then I'm going to use my other hand and make it as tight and close to the gun as possible. That way there's not much slack there. I want that to fit in really tight. So now I've got that in place. I can hold this with one hand and trace the outline with the other hand. Okay, I've got enough of it traced that I know where to put it and finish it up. And I'll trace this all the way up to this stitch line because this isn't going to be moved. Once I stitch this together, this will fit perfectly onto the back half. I'll trace my stitch line like that. So now I have to match up the two halves. I can turn my light on for that. Now I've got a gap where the gun was at, so I need to match up the top line and the bottom line. And we've got a little curve in here that I'm going to have to eyeball. Turn my light back off so I can see this. Okay, I think that's going to work out. Now I need to see how it's longer now than the back piece. The front piece is longer, which is going to give the whole holster a curve to it. Now that I've got the top done, I can trace the reinforcement part. Mark my center line. And I want to make sure it's not on my stitch line. That way I don't have to stitch over top of it when I'm putting this thing together. So it's gonna be about here, about 1/8 of an inch off my stitch line. Now I need to connect it. And there's the front. Let me zoom out. There's the front part and the back part. So what I need to do now I need to trace the reinforcement piece onto here so that I can cut that out and use that as a pattern. Alright, now we got my 3 pieces for my leather holster. This is the cross draw for the Kimber Micro 9. I'll be putting other videos on of other holsters that I designed and how I make the patterns for those as I get more. So thank you for watching. I hope you got something out of this video. Have a good day.